All right. Hello, everyone. We are live for our crowdcast of the day. Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about DAOs, and this will be a series. So this is our first session on DAOs, Decentralized Autonomous Organizations, for the ones who are not familiar yet. We will hear a lot by our wonderful panelists in a bit. I'll tell you who they are in a minute. Just so you know beforehand, we do have, as always, a question section, and in the end, we want to engage and also have your questions, posed to our experts. So you have a ask a question section on the bottom where you can just type in your what is on your mind, questions on the DAO. And yes, with that being said, our first session of the DAO series is called Unfuck the Economy with DAOs, and our guests are Dr. Millie Perry, involved in the European Blockchain Association, among others, among other things, Tyler Penning from the DAOstronaut, among other things, and Thomas Hessler, general blockchain expert, DAO enthusiast, and involved in many ways, also with the UFO. So with that being said, I want to jump not quite right in, but as always, we have a section of a little health info of our guests today, multiple in our panel, and a fun fact about yourself. Oh yes, on the spot always. Have to come up with new content myself. So my fun fact for today is I am trying to combine NFTs with laser art. So Dr. Millie, I'm handing over to you.
Well, I don't have such a wonderful fun fact, but I can say I'm trying to lift EduDAO right now within the European Blockchain Association, and its target is to gather blockchain teaching organizations that are, inventing the wheel, each one in their own yard. And we're trying to bring them on DAO in order to share knowledge and ease the process of curriculum and materials and the very, very dynamic speed that this profession is changing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Millie, maybe a hand over to Thomas.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm sitting here in the Bay Area. I just got up, so I'm a little tired still, but I could make it, and I'm happy to be on the panel because I'm traveling a lot for the last couple of months, and actually there's only one topic which is, no, that's not only one topic, but there's one topic which really is, in my eyes, the most exciting, which is DAOs we are talking about today. And the second one is NFTs. So the fun fact I have to contribute here today is, so as Mario has something with NFTs, I got approached a couple of weeks ago with some girls who want to go to a conference, and they had no story about, okay, what is their project, what is their startup, whatever. So then I just asked them, so what do you care about? I mean, they are in their 20s, and I said, maybe dating. So, and the conference we were going to go was all about metaverse, NFTs, and so on. And we said, okay, so then why not? Let's mix dating and NFTs. And you know what? Now they have started a startup based on dating, based on NFTs. And they just came back from Barcelona yesterday because there was a hackathon, and they won the first prize of the challenge, of the Avalanche challenge. Yeah. So easy is that.
Fantastic.
You know? For every problem in the world, you have a solution in crypto. and maybe even you have a solution in NFTs. So just think about it,
Yeah, right now, probably that's true. Let's see if that's also the case in 2-3 years from now. But yes, right now there's an NFT solution for everything. That's it's true. Okay, great. Maybe if you remember the name, you can write into the chat, right? What their app is, their solution is called, so everyone can check it out.
Of course, the name of the company is matchme.nft. So easy as that.
Easy. A good name choice. Great. Then, Tyler, do we have you in the building?
I think I'm here in spirit, not in camera. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm having internet troubles this morning. I think this Crowdcast platform is too advanced for my poor little computer that I have. So fun fact about me, right, is since everybody wanted to focus on NFTs, I may have been the first person to sell myself as an NFT. I wrote a quasi contract in the Unlockables for a marketing campaign, and I had a dear friend of mine purchase it for 1 ETH. So it was kind of like a temporary hiring contract of sorts at the time. And I've yet to see anybody post anything similar to that. I didn't really publicize it a whole lot because, like employment law and whatnot. But it was kind of fun, it was a good time, and hopefully it takes a life of its own and trades on into the future, and I can help other organizations from a marketing perspective. And then I guess one little other fun fact would be I started the first LinkedIn group on DAOs, right? That's kind of how we all got here. It's been an amazing ride for 6 months. But, I came over to LinkedIn looking for work in the industry, and then kind of looked around and did a little research and realized there was no group yet on LinkedIn about DAOs. And so I planted my flag and dug my heels in, and now all of a sudden here we all are. So it's fantastic to see that there's another organization with like UFOstart and people with bright minds globally to be able to have these kind of conversations. And I'm looking forward to this episode and potentially some more in the future.
Great. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, we'll post the link to the group also in the chat. Maybe you can also tell us about the DAOstronaut.
Absolutely.
What's happening?
Yeah, so DAOstronaut too. So it's one of the first, there's a couple on Spotify and stuff like that talking about DAOs. But, with that group, one of the, some of the earliest adopters, Millie being one, and another one being a dear friend, Ben Baldieri. He kind of came to me with the concept and wanted to launch it within the group and kind of just run with it. And, I've been kind of helping as the COO under the wings to find talent and people to bring on and kind of coordinate the direction we take it. But it's across, almost every major platform now: Apple Stream, Spotify, YouTube. And we've got a couple good episodes in the wings ready to pump out. But yeah, we're just trying to give a platform for, top tier DAO minds and DAO projects to come on and talk all things DAOs, so it's been a great bonding mechanism for the community. And we're actually looking to get more people involved to try and open it up to a bigger audience and allow for more people to contribute and do more with it within the group. So if anybody's interested in hosting an episode or coming on as a guest, just reach out to us either in the group or on LinkedIn, and we will see what we can do.
Perfect. Sounds great. So with this little intro, I think you got a picture of who our guests are, who our panelists are, and what they do. If you have any specific questions, please put them in the question section and to whom the question should go. And now, as for our topic is unfuck the economy with DAOs, we need to figure out what's wrong with the economy. So first of all, and then we dive into how DAOs may help. So, guys, what is wrong with the economy? Anyone who has like a strong opinion on that one?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's very obvious that very few people are holding the wealth of the economy around the world. There are a lot of numbers running in reports, but it's supposed to, 1-2% of the people are holding most of the wealth, and people do not get their opportunity, fair opportunity to share economy activities, and there are so many left outside. Talking to unbanked people and people that are, unprivileged to collaborate, people that even the internet do not help them to get on board. So there's a lot of injustice and a lot of people taking advantage of their position and their money. And I didn't say a word about banks and governments, and there are so many pitfalls. I don't know where to begin with.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for that perspective more on the macro level, right? I guess there's also like an issue within within companies and the structure, right? But yes, I don't want to speak ahead. So anyone, Tyler, Thomas, want to add to that? What's wrong?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is even the big picture, but I mean, if we go a little down to, let's say, the operational level, then you see that basically it's pretty hard in the crypto industry to still operate. The governments start now taking care about and getting interested in what's going on, and each country basically comes up with its own regulation, which makes it very difficult for crypto companies in general to operate on a legal level. So that's why people basically looking for places where they can operate, where they can do things. It started in Switzerland, and then they went to Gibraltar, and then they went to Singapore, and so they basically jumped around the world to just find spots where they are allowed, to do what they want to do. I mean, nobody is going for any illegal stuff, they are not criminals. I'm not talking about Silk Road or this kind of stuff, just regular entities, which of course want to get funded based on tokens, want to do the Web3, normal stuff, I would say. But it's getting harder and harder. And now even China banned all the miners and the exchanges. So all these guys are moving to places where they basically get some freedom. And so what I see right now is basically that Europe and Asia is becoming a melting pot in Dubai. So everybody is moving to Dubai. And the US guys, they all come together in Puerto Rico, So, and I mean, this is, of course, a fact right now, but this is not a solution for the future. So today you really have to ask yourself, if you set up something, whatever it is, and even if it's not, let's say, regulated at the moment, but in the moment where you just ask for money and collect money based on token, you're basically entering the risk to become illegal, and the SEC in the United States will go after you. And so it's really hard. And that's why many startups are really scared. So the idea of a DAO, and especially I'm talking about a real DAO, because there are many DAOs out, which I would not necessarily
Wait a second,
DAO,
Thomas, if I may come in here and just give Tyler also, we only hear Tyler from the ether. He's not visible, so it's sometimes Tyler, you have to make yourself known.
Oh no, you're good. I was letting the man talk. I had a couple notes too that I was going to hit on. So quickly, so that we can jump back in on that point, right? A little bit on Millie's side from the macro level. What's wrong with the economy? Coming from a small to medium size, background, personally, but then working in Fortune 500 companies, for the little guys, right? For who DAOs are really supposed to be for, access to capital is the hardest part, that's strangulating the economy right now, because, the financial institutions don't want to break loose with their money. And most business owners don't have the capital to come in liquid and start something from scratch. They rely on debt financing, right? So in my opinion, one of the biggest things that DAOs allow for, and, the token economy in general, is the liquidity and access to, self-financing through DeFi, right? So to be able to pool capital with, 4 or 5 investors, even if we're just talking about starting a traditional business, have smart contract governance to be able to vote and in a trustless manner and have a multi-signature treasury, but to be able to collateralize your own assets in that capacity quickly and permissionlessly is one gigantic opportunity, that business owners have to be able to pull together, stand together, and then still try to survive these uncertain economic times with finite deflationary assets, like Bitcoin, like UST, like Terra Luna, certain things like that, where, it just gives them the ability to try to still be self-sovereign and have a degree of success, whether the regulation's there or not, because you can incorporate and follow the gray area rules that are available to you globally, depending on your jurisdiction, and still try and operate. Because at the end of the day, free market economics is still going to take hold. People need to feed their families. People need to put roofs over their heads. People want to innovate. And yeah, it's scary, definitely, the regulatory sandbox that they have us playing in, but even from a micro level too, you look inside of organizations, everything that's been going on with COVID for the last 2 years and people transitioning to remote work and getting fed up with how organizations treat people, there's a gigantic talent pool shortage as well. And so DAOs provide an opportunity to kind of capture some of that talent to work in a more efficient, self-serving manner for the individual, whilst contributing to a bigger whole that, incentivizes them correctly and fits their needs. So I think between those two things, just access to capital and debt financing and the ability to contribute in a meaningful fashion, and due to the labor shortage and that kind of stuff right there is a good step forward where DAOs really position themselves to, help.
Absolutely. That's all great points. I'll just throw in one other one before we move on, which is, basically, I think the kind of what's wrong is kind of what we see, not wrong, but a huge change in mindset also is how organizations are run, when we think of, how fast things are changing in the past couple of years or decades, right? How the mindset of how an organization is run, like centralized, hierarchical, with many deficiencies. When you ask young people, right, the ones that are coming out of universities or out of school. So I think here is something wrong with the economy where DAOs can play a crucial role in addressing these issues and new ways of work, as you said. All right, so we established kind of all the things that are wrong. So now we can get to the juicy part, and that is, okay, let's assume our listeners, some of our listeners do not know what a DAO is or have like one particular, image in their mind. Millie, how would you describe a DAO?
Well, I can say it is, the well-known notion is that first we ought to. I'm not sure how much people understand blockchain, but there is a well-known notion that blockchain, the best term or explanation for blockchain is everything you don't understand about the computer. With everything you don't understand about finance. I think DAO, you can describe it. First, DAO is not one suit fit all. Okay, it is very varied creature. It is It is kind of an organization that is the pyramid is upside down. Okay, we are used to organization, command and control. All the knowledge is in the head of or the mind of directors and C-level personnel, and they create the strategy and aim the organization towards a specific target or vision. But the real day-to-day knowledge is in the head and the hand of employees, because they are the people that talk to customers. They know what are their needs. They can see what the competitors is up to, and the capability of organization to adopt itself to the surrounding, to the neighborhood, should be based on this knowledge, not the things that the director think they know. And nowadays, DAO brings some new opportunity to gather, to bring people gather around an idea, around vision, around values that they believe in, and they are in DAO. They are going to work within their passion. Okay, not going to some other organization owned by wealthy people to serve them.
So it's about co-ownership.
The community, the people, the participants are serving their own passion, and I think it's very powerful.
Thank you for your view. I think I have one angle for it. I think for Thomas, this is one you're probably made for. Is how would you describe a DAO to a fifth grader?
Oh, to a fifth grader. Oh my goodness.
A group with the treasury. A group with the treasury. Mutual or combined treasury.
No, a DAO is for a 5-year-old if he has to split.
Sorry, fifth grader. Sorry, so 10 years old, fifth grader. So more or less 10 years old. Not okay. We don't go all the way there.
Okay. Anyway, I try to explain it for a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old. So if he gets told there's one egg, these surprising eggs with chocolate and a toy in the middle, and that's just one egg, but there are two guys, and now they have to deal to split it. This is basically the idea of a DAO, and not to say, oh, I get the whole thing, and yeah, maybe.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's quite interesting because you can only share all ownership, like with shares, or like all these programs that you can, also regular companies can give out shares for the employees and everything, but it's far from easy and far from manageable for early stage companies. That's one aspect, but also there's the voting kind of aspect and taking influence in the direction of where it's going. That I find very interesting. But yes, maybe Tyler, you can still give your view on things.
Yeah, to try and keep it simple, like, I've been telling people, because when I say the word DAO, people just stare at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, what is this crazy acronym you're using? Just a smart organization, right? As we're moving into the era of Internet of Things and so much connectivity and just interoperability in the normal world, right? Us in the blockchain space, we hear that and we think, chains interacting together. But in a traditional sense, right, there's, technologies interacting together, but that are governed by code and the employees, right? Because if you have a finite base of code that cannot be changed to set the organizational standards, you don't show up at work one day and get a new memorandum of this is what's changed on you, and you're just supposed to adhere to it and then implement it, right? There were so many days where I would come in during COVID in my last role as a leader over there, and things changed and you had no say in what was going on. It was just a new dictation to you to go behave in a particular manner. And especially during a global pandemic, you're coming in with one plan and then that day everything changes and your entire workload has to shift, balance, sit through 7 meetings. And, it could have been, taken into consideration from the people on the front line that are having to do these things versus completely just dictated to you, but the ability to automate certain functions within a business to on chain, have them immutable, have people's voices heard, a lot of the diversity, equity, and inclusion components really fit into a DAO, especially when you're integrating, the technology side and embedding it with code to make it finite and immutable, right? So, and then if things are going to change, it takes the employee base to be able to vote that change into action, or the stakeholders at all levels, not just at a corporate board level, right? I guess that would be the most watered down version I could put together.
No, but
Yes,
we can define it as a self-organized community with the treasury to execute, not only to talk about things, but to execute and achieve some goals or targets. So I think it's gives some idea of the
yes,
this
absolutely.
form.
We have one question here already. If we can explain the expand on the shared ownership. So I think I said that what I was referring to, or what I thought about, since we as UFOstart also are kind of, it's not a real DAO, but we're dabbling in how to get there. And there's different systems how to that help you implement. If you're thinking about, okay, I'm interested in setting up a new kind of structure for an organization, there's tools now, quite some already, like Aragon or Colony, and I especially liked kind of Colony for us, since there's like two ways or two systems, right? It's not only you get tokens for, I don't know, there's tasks, right? And if you do a task as a contributor, you get tokens for that. And in some other systems, kind of the more tokens you have, the more voting power you have. For example,
You're talking about the governance
yes,
format,
governance side.
right?
Yes.
I think before the governance, we should talk about tooling, or you refer to the technology, the infrastructure, okay, of the DAO. The engineering part of the DAO, but we need to deal with the community. We need to deal with people. We need to deal with the product. We need to deal with the treasury and business development and marketing and so on. And we have a lot of tooling using helping us to form. For instance, onboarding. Okay, in organization, it's very clear. How do you onboard? You have to apply. You have to bring your resume. You have to bring your credentials and so on. And other people will evaluate it and decide whether you're okay or not for a specific role. But in a DAO, your onboarding process is much easier from one side, because everyone that would buy the token will be on board. But in the other side, you have to see what are their capability, what are their passion. You have to
yes, absolutely. And here's what I find beautiful about the let's say the colony approach, where you get two things, right? One is the tokens, and one is the reputational points, right? So you have to build up your reputation also, and this one decays. Kind of the tokens stay, you basically get compensated in tokens, but you have the reputational points that have a half-life, and they kind of decrease over time. So people who are not invested and engaged, they lose their power over time within the organization, right? You can just sit still and have a lot of tokens, and that's it. I think that's the point I want to make. But yes, I want to open this up, right? Since it's a panel, right? And now we've kind of established everything, like from the economy over DAOs, and now please, if you have, dear guests, questions to your fellow panelists, then please do. You can also engage. We don't have to go through me all the time. So if you have anything directly to answer to, please feel free to do so.
May I ask Thomas a question?
Please.
Of course.
Yeah. You referred a few minutes ago to a real DAO. What is a real DAO for in your eyes?
I mean, the shortest answer to what is a real DAO is Bitcoin. There's only one example in my eyes, which is top notch and which we should follow on. And this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the one and only fully decentralized autonomous organization, or you call it whatever you want. And this is for a reason, because it's completely anonymous, it's completely decentralized, and it's, nobody knows who's behind. So you can do basically everything what you want with Bitcoin, and nobody can regulate it, I mean, I'm not strict against regulation, but as I said at the beginning, it's almost impossible for a crypto startup or a crypto founder to act legally, especially when he thinks on a global scale. And since every project, what we start in crypto, is a global scale, you are illegal somewhere, you know? So in my eyes, the only way you can really go is with a real DAO. And a real DAO basically has just a few things. I mean, it has to be fully decentralized. So it means it has to be on a decentralized infrastructure. It has to be.
But you have to have entrepreneurs to a core group to establish it, and you have to if you want to operate like Satoshi, you have to disappear. You have to delegate all the tools to the community, and I'm not so sure. In my eyes, decentralization, it's a value, but it's not black and white. There is not zero and one. It is a range, and you, in a life cycle of a DAO, it has to be somehow centralized at the beginning with the first idea. Then you have to delegate the voting rights and other rights to the members. But for instance, Bitcoin, you don't know how many whales you have there, that they do have much more influence over this network, but you can recognize it on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, so you asked me what I understand under a real DAO, and I was about to tell you. It has to be decentralized, it has to be anonymized, and it has to be without a legal entity. Because in the second way you have a legal entity, there is someone somehow coming after you, because if you pisses him off, then you are fucked, you know? So easy as that. And there's no other way around. And to say, oh yeah, we are just a little bit regulated and maybe tomorrow we are not. If they know who you are, you know, they will go after you. Full stop. So the only way, if you want to really do something which is substantially changing the world, you know, and taking power away from people who own the power today, the only way to do it is a real DAO, you know, let's face it. And so we still have hurdles, and I don't say it's easy, of course it's not, but this is the only strategy I think it is worth to work on, because all the DAO launchpads, all the DAO builder, whatever, you know, these are centralized structures. In the second, when the SEC gets after them, they shut down the DAO makers and whatever, and then they shut down basically hundreds and thousands of DAOs with one click, you know? This is not a DAO.
How do you implement this strategy?
Yeah, or what is the closest thing that you've seen that comes to a real DAO, to the real thing? What's the closest thing you guys have seen?
I told you, Bitcoin is the closest thing, you know? So as we go operate like Bitcoin and we try to basically stick to these rules Bitcoin is doing, then we get it, you know? But I mean, what I've done in the past a couple of weeks is basically starting a group of enthusiasts on Telegram who have the same idea, you know? How should a real DAO look like? What's the infrastructure? What's the governance? How can we kick it off? Because as I said, you know, in the second way you touch a sensitive topic, a regulated whatever, you are out of business, you know. So I wanna invite everyone here on this panel or also on the group to join this group, this Telegram group. We will post that in the chat here now, and you can join. You can also follow this discussion. It's all about, okay, how to structure such a thing, which is basically a nobody, you know? And of course, there are challenges in terms of governance, and do we have a CEO? Who's the leader? Who gives direction? Whatever, you know? There are many, many questions, and we will figure that out. And maybe one by one, we will try to set up smaller projects which behaving like this, and then we can learn from them and take the next one. Right now, we are in a phase of, let's say, discovering, discussing, see what kind of tools are out there, what kind of decentralized infrastructure we can use, where are missing pieces, because there are many things already, but some are missing. And so that's what we are doing in the group. There are already 70 people. So I can see a huge demand and for that topic. So people are really inviting each other. And we also have set up a Discord channel, which we also will announce in a second, where we basically want to collect all this kind of information in a very structured way. And the idea basically is to just create an example how a real DAO could look like without starting one. But now everybody has an idea, or basically can copy and paste and start whatever he wants on a fully decentralized and unregulated way. This is basically the idea we are working on. And and then let's see, what we can make out of it. But I tell you, SEC is very sensitive about DeFi and DAOs.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long it will take till they start shutting down all the DAO builders, So that's why we are, I would say, under some pressure to make it happen, that we can create the structure how a real DAO should operate.
That'd be like a nice starting point, right? Obviously, there needs to be experience, right? But if you have the building block, the foundation of, okay, look, we figured some things out already, and you can start from here and figure it out. There's a kind of a nice. We talked a little bit about the governmental restrictions and what's coming up, but we, on the other hand, we also have the traditional, organizations, companies. Is there any way, because almost everyone is working in traditional structures right now. Is there any way how to introduce this concept into existing organizations? Have you seen any try to make this shift partially, fully?
Definitely. I mean, there's one very good example, and which is operating very well right now, which is Shapeshift. Shapeshift is the classic example for someone started a business out of the United States, became very successful, and the SEC basically shut him down because they insisted on many rules which he could basically not implement, and so they killed his business more or less. And now Shapeshift has transformed into a DAO within the last maybe 3 months or so, and today it's flourishing. Everybody is happy. It's growing. I think it's a very, very good example. I mean, we are in contact with the Shapeshift guys. We, of course, observing what's going on, how they do it, to learn from them. And I think Shapeshift could be a very good example. I mean, I think we are not done yet, and we have to give it a bit more time. But Shapeshift could be a very good example for basically every traditional business who wants to move into a DAO structure.
They turned their operation into a smart contract. How did they transform?
I'm not informed about the details. I think he made a pretty detailed documentation about that. I mean, whoever is interested, maybe we can research that and post it here in our chat later on. I think he's very transparent about that, how he did it, and still is doing so. But I think we all will learn from the Shapeshift case.
Cool. Tyler, do you know of any organizations that are trying or have tried to implement some of the DAO methodologies?
I've been contacted by some, and I know Millie has too as well, right? Because we had a conversation about who is the person or who is the organization that we should go to help onboard Web 2 organizations and implement DAO toolings. And quite frankly, looking around in the landscape, there's very little, if zero, people that are doing anything in that capacity, because a lot of the people that are building in Web 3 have built stuff that can easily be integrated into an organization if said CTO of company would go look at it, play with it, and then learn how to implement it there. It's open source and it's available. But a lot of companies currently that are looking to shift, they don't have the skill set, wherewithal, and background to understand what we have at our disposal here, and they're looking for consultants and advisors and service companies to come in and implement these type of things. So there is a big gap in the market with opportunities there to help serve traditional businesses that are looking to scramble to integrate, if anything, just a flatter organizational structure on chain, because of getting back to the regulatory stuff. It is absolutely scary as a business owner to try and look to integrate crypto into your business, especially from a treasury management perspective, and at least go all in when these uncertainties exist, right? So I think that's where it's like, hearing Thomas' side of the argument from a truly decentralized anonymous DAO versus Millie's side with, traditional businesses and commerce in general in a public facing capacity. I think that's where we have to come together in a multifaceted approach, because I had a meeting with Garrett Openshaw at Mountain DAO, and these guys are sitting in a DAO structure with regulators and lobbyists looking to shape law and how it gets implemented from a legislative capacity to try and make more sensible regulations. But at the same time, we have to hedge our bet in the sense that there needs to be a network for DAOs. I've seen someone in here talking about, URLs and shutting down websites. There's a network called Deeper Network where it's infrastructure supported globally for a decentralized internet. So having something that is a decentralized commerce network that allows for DAOs to have at least a jumping off point and resources available to them to decide whether to be a publicly disclosed entity with a DAO structure or a fully anonymous, supporting mechanism like a DAO of DAOs that helps to facilitate structure and growth globally. I think it can't be a one size fits all answer, because all sides are necessary to help progress to implementation of this technology globally in a meaningful way, right? Not in just a cyberpunk, let's kick the doors down and make sure, we can always have commerce, because I think we're always going to have barter and trade in every capacity. But, I think, again, especially currently with the crazy global uncertainty, you have to have fail safes in both sides. And I think with Bitcoin being what it is, it kind of serves that purpose now without the infrastructure for somebody to come in and utilize it in a capacity as a DAO maker. Because a lot of, like Thomas mentioned, you have DAO House, you have Colony, you have this, you have that, but they're centralized to one chain to serve a particular purpose. And there's very little, if anything, that I've seen that is facilitating, cross-chain interoperability and specifically built to incubate DAOs, help them start, back them, access to capital. There's a couple like Meta Cartel and things like that invest back into the communities, but in a very limited capacity. A lot of it's self-serving and this and that. It's not meant to be a greater good for the community as a whole. And I think that's kind of the opportunity that I think Thomas sees on the table. So, at the end of the day, I'm just here to be a guiding light and a steward for all of it. And I'm glad I'm here to be a part of it.
I have to say, Mario, that I didn't hear a lot of, existing organization wants to turn into DAO. They may be looking and experimenting to turn their, R&D unit into a DAO, but not. They can do that, not because of the technology, because of the paradigm shift. Their rationale of existing is opposite to DAO.
Yeah.
So
the bigger, the more impossible it gets.
Erasing all the directors and C-level, they would never have this kind of decision.
Sure. I'm not talking about corporates, but more like, okay, I start a company, I have, 50 to 100 employees or something. You can maybe, still may do it, but with the established structures.
A really cool example of that, right? Millie hitting on it, that I've been utilizing lately, because, and it's not specifically a DAO, but a company in general, with Gala nodes going to the music side, right? And we had that big Super Bowl performance with Death Row Records, them publicly coming on to Gala to essentially tear apart their own record label and decentralize it and give power back to the artists. They're essentially setting the roadmap of this is what's to come for corporations. Like, if you're not looking to decentralize yourself and allow your existence to still be viable, you're gonna get eaten alive by technological innovations. So you might as well come to the forefront and do it now in a public facing capacity to give power and provenance back to your creatives, to your artists, to your employees. And if you don't do that, you will lose, especially when you have somebody like Snoop Dogg and a gigantic music label setting the standard of, this is how it's going to be in the future, whether you like it or not. You better do something about it now or you're going to crumble. So I think that's a really cool example that people can
but in the other hand, I have to say that there are some not bad examples, but examples that came from the bones of Web3 and turned into a centralized organization. We can see OpenSea, we can see Bored Apes, we can see others that they were establishing themselves over the Web3 and engagement and community criteria, and turning because of the deep pockets that joined them to a centralized and corporate form. So I can see some counterpart, some existing bad examples in the wrong direction.
Guys, I just want to jump in here real quick because it's a very interesting discussion we're having. I want to be mindful a little bit of time. If you guys are okay, to our guests, and you still have a couple of minutes, I would like to also jump in and take some of the questions that have been posed by the audience. First one, I'll just take the one that's right down here. It is by, I cannot read right now, by Ulrike. How can it be avoided that DAOs in themselves start to work as silos then?
Yeah, this is a very good question. Actually, I would like to answer because this is a topic which I want to raise here also, So, as I said, there are many DAO builders, DAO launchpads, DAO maker, you name them, and the problem what I see is they all try to build a one-stop shop, So they all go for, okay, we need a governance, we need a token, we need a chat, we need an exchange, we need a wallet, we need blah, 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 everything, from A to Z to basically cover what, of course, a DAO would need to start and operate. The problem here is, as we already saw, this is just a silo, Each of them is a silo. So the idea is, in my eyes, so stupid. I mean, it's not beatable anymore, to have the idea of a DAO, be convinced of it, and start a DAO as a silo, I mean, really, I it's so silly that I can't even laugh about it. So what we urgently need, in my eyes, is a protocol which connects all the DAO builders, in a way that you can basically fully decentralize a DAO, also with all the different DAO builders, to say, oh, I take the governance from these guys, but the wallet I take here, and the exchange, of course, I take SushiSwap or whatever, I don't need to be on the exchange of the DAO builder, of the DAO launchpad. I want to use anything, So, but nobody in the whole industry is coming up with a protocol to combine all the DAOs, to make them really decentralized and independent from each other. This is the only strategy we have to go. I mean, we have to really collect all the DAO builders, convince them, and come up with a protocol where they plug in. That's the only way. So,
all right.
That's why I want to ask this community here, please, we have to set up on the Discord server, which we just posted here, to come up with a token economy. We have to find the best token engineers in the world who can help us to set up this protocol. And we have to bring on all the DAO builders. I started talking to the first guys, and actually the pitch is pretty easy. They understand the concept in a second when you tell them, So we have to bring some of the big guys who are running DAO builders today to the table, make them understand. We have to find a joint force, where we all agree on, which basically is a decentralized protocol, and then we can go further, Otherwise, this SEC or whoever takes over will shut down one DAO builder after the other in the future. Yeah, we will see that.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. I think is as we talked about also before this crowdcast about metaverses and how to make metaverses interoperable and everything. I
Same
think
problem,
similar things. I want to
Absolutely.
pick up another question, and yes, they're flowing in. So I take the one from Curtis. Except for the DAO token as utility tokens, is there any potential to create a segregated account for each DAO member as a wallet for spending money in DAO activities? Is there possibilities in combining DAOs and NFT communities?
Well, I think there are some DAOs that are, collectors of NFTs, and I think NFT absolutely in metaverse would be, the e-commerce currency for any, monetization of everything. And I think it would be very, it would be NFT of I don't know, identity, an NFT of achievement, an NFT of credential, an NFT of engagement, and others. So I think it would be NFT for sure would be very useful in the future activity of DAOs.
Okay. I hope the question was answered. I want to take one more, and then we kind of conclude. Thank you guys for asking also more questions in the question section. It is a pretty long question. Sometimes one question is also 5 questions. So I'll just pick out one. And that would be about the technological barriers, right? They're asking if the technological barriers are high to set up a DAO, and if DAO creators have to write their smart contracts themselves.
So I'll jump on that one, right? Because we've been talking about like the DAO launchpads, right? The technological barriers for a bare bone structure exist in a lot of different capacities, right? Like we could literally take the last 3 minutes of this call and launch a DAO on Polygon via DAO House right now. Now, is the terminology and the org structure going to be what you like and want? Probably not. That one may be more guild oriented for gaming, folks, something like that, because they have some unique taxonomy, I guess you could say, for the components of the DAO structures. But and then you've got something like Colony where you can deploy fairly quickly and have sub-DAO framework and have, communication channels and integrations with tech that currently exists. So that's kind of two far apart approaches where it's heavily on chain, very ethos oriented. And then you have something that's more UI, UX, Web 2 feel, but integrates DAO tech and with familiar institutional grade tech like Twitter integrations, YouTube, stuff like that, to where you can embed and facilitate with tech that people are used to. So, the barriers to entry for a custom organization, they're really high. Finding a smart contract engineer, depending on your blockchain of choice, to be able to create your infrastructure exactly how you want it and custom governance structures, that's going to be costly, and the barriers are high. But to use what's available to you, very low.
Great. I think it's a good lead over to guys. If you have anything to share with the community, anything to take away, like a last nugget of wisdom or advice or whatever you want to share about the space, now's the time.
Thomas?
Just join a DAO. I mean, really, I'm, as I said, the last couple weeks, I'm jumping from conference to conference, and there's nothing else which really excites me more as DAOs, and that's what I see also of people. Because I mean, maybe another picture, for everyone who is, let's say, still struggling. Okay, what shall I do in the future? What is my passion? What's my, my way? And so what I see basically is DAOs are a new lifestyle. They free you up from your 9 to 5. They open you a clear opportunity into Web3 in a way that you can enjoy your life in a completely new way. You know, you can become independent in the second when you go for DAOs. You can find a job without applying or asking for permission. You will not have an asshole boss who tells you what to do and what not to do. You don't have to ask for vacations anymore or where and when to work. It's all about you, you know. Find a DAO which excites you, and you can basically work on things you are passionate about at the time it's convenient for you, at a place you love to be, you know. So this is a completely new world which is opening up, and I don't want to overpromise, you know, that you will become rich in the day when you join a DAO, but this is the strategy, you know. This is the way you have to go. You should go, because everybody will join DAOs. This is the concept of the future for startups. And what I see today is that basically tomorrow, every startup and every corporate will be outperformed by a DAO, because they are much more scalable. There are more better motivated people walking in, you know. They are passionate about what they do, you know. This is
borderless as well.
Borderless, you know. They are highly motivated. They will kick you ass, you know. And if you start a project today and you think about your own startup, consider to start it as a DAO. I made a promise to myself that from today on, I will only invest in startups who have the structure as a DAO. You know, I will support DAOs full stop, you know, and I will not put money into any other ideas, because I think this is outdated, you know. It's like 3 years ago when I decided I will only put money into crypto startups, you know, because everything else doesn't matter in the future anymore. So, and now I see the same as DAOs, even if we are still early on, but early on means big opportunity, you know, higher risk, okay, no problem. But I think now it's the time to really join that movement, you know, become a Web3 enthusiast and join a DAO you love to, you know, you like to, yeah.
That was a pretty good pitch of a DAO, right? We came from a complicated beginning, like, what is a DAO? I was like, okay, I can work from wherever. I don't have a boss, and I make money. Great. That's a good pitch, Thomas.
The Gen Z is convinced already. I can say that my best idea would be, or advice would be, to jump into this rabbit hole. Maybe some won't understand the DAO at the beginning, but you have to jump into the rabbit hole of crypto, of blockchain, of Bitcoin, of, you know, Web3. Even though there are people that are saying there is no Web3, it is a laundered term for crypto, whatever. Jump into it, learn. There is such a huge amount of things to learn, and it will blow your mind. I think it is the most interesting metaverse world, whatever, to look into it.
Okay, last
I get to close it out.
Words.
For me, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to say just DAO it. So I put 5 links in here to all the best DAO launch pads to just go make a DAO, you know, like, because we're not dealing with traditional legal filed entities, you can just go make a DAO and it could live on a chain in complete obscurity forever. And maybe you come back to it 3 years from now, right? Like, I literally created a DAO before the group and before coming to LinkedIn called Boomer DAO, with the concept to help facilitate the boomer generation being able to participate in crypto. It was supposed to be, you know, like a concierge-like service to be able to allow the facilitation in an easier capacity for boomers by boomers, you know, and because it's not that that generation lacks the financial knowledges to understand crypto. It's they lack the security in their ability to perform online. They don't have the confidence in themselves, most of the part, to do the online transactions and steps to get the things that they want to get or participate in the way that they want to. You know, I've had to hold my dad's hand through a lot of things and speak to some older people that want to get involved but aren't confident in how to get on an exchange or open a wallet or do this or do that. So it's like they want to play ball, right? But it costs me, I don't know, under a penny on Polygon to deploy a basic DAO structure. And because I did it, I had an understanding of it. So it's like, if you want, my motto's always been go fast, break shit in this space, right? Go touch it, break it. You're not going to go to jail. You're not going to fuck it up. Just do it. And then you'll have an understanding of what it feels like. And then you can reverse engineer it from there. Right. And to me, you know, NFTs have been a great entry point for a lot of people with art to get into crypto. And I think DAOs are going to be the same thing for traditional business minded individuals. Crypto might be hard to ingest as an entirety up front if you have no background. But if you can enter from a commerce perspective and look at DAOs and then digital assets and kind of take that walk to learn, you might not learn everything in the correct capacity and as fast as you should, but you're going to learn the things necessary to facilitate commerce, run a business, scale, and learn the things that are integral in the ecosystem, right? So we're going to end with hashtag just DAO it.
Yes, I believe you're absolutely could be onto something with matchmaking boomers with the younger generation. You know, I have like a Tinder for blockchain topics or something like this. Maybe should investigate. All right, thanks a lot for your time, all of you, guests as well as panelists, for taking over time. Very, very interesting conversation. I think we could go on for hours, which actually we will, because this is just the first version of many of our DAO series. So it was posted above already. You can also see on our podcast account. It will be future events for the DAO topic. We'll go a little bit deeper. We have set the stage, so don't miss out the other ones. Here they come again. Register, and yes, I guess that is it for today. Follow us, stay up to date, join our Discord, you know, all the regular things.
Just DAO it.
Just DAO it.
All right, guys.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. See you next time. And actually, I wanna hear some comments about the protocol, you know, from the audience next time. All right.
Absolutely.
So,
bye, guys.